Hello, hello.
Hi, I'm Peter Kim.
And I am Unji Kim.
And together we are two Kims.
On one pod.
That's right. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's episode 103. How are you, Unji? You're reading Dune, you were telling me, right before we clapped in?
Yeah, I am reading
What
Dune.
a weird thing to do in your 40s.
I'm reading it
It's
out
such
loud.
a heavy, dense book.
Yeah, I'm reading it out loud to my son. So like I think...
Why? For bed?
Yes, to bed.
Oh,
For
okay.
bed.
Okay.
We typically have... this is something that my husband actually started. Strangely enough, it was a great idea. We would read like a comic book version called Illustrated Classics of classical books, like Kings of the Knights of the Round Table, Jason and the Argonauts, like stuff like that. We'd read the comic book version, and then we'd read the full enjoyment version later. So like. Okay. So he would get like an understanding of what the book was, the language and everything in the plot. And then reading it, the language wouldn't feel as dense or as overwhelming. And he wouldn't be as lost.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that a good way of going? Yeah.
I love that.
That's how it's, right? Like
you're reading Dune as a family? That's so cute.
We are.
I love that.
And it's so good because I've watched the movie. And we were just saying before we got on the pod, like neither of us were really big sci-fi book people. We were both sci-fi TV and movie people. I love Star Trek. Like that was my thing. I was a Trekkie and all of it, like Firefly. So it's been interesting to be able to read it. And, typically this kind of language and prose would feel very dense and boring. But because I know how it's acted, I can bring a little bit of this flavor to the reading, to the live reading.
Love it.
Yeah. At the end of one of my...
That's interesting. Are you doing like characters while you read out loud?
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome. Do you read it you're just yourself or you and your husband together?
It depends. We're switching off because, we have two.
That's so fun. That's amazing.
But yeah, after one of my readings, my son did look at me and was like, "You're an actor."
Haha, wow. You heard it first from him.
It's true. Even before I even told myself, my son told me. This is the reason why.
Did it feel so good to be seen? Finally?
No, I was like, bitch, yeah.
What do you think I'm doing down there in the freaking self-tape room?
Like rude that you're you sound so surprised. Like, you've been tonight is the night of the Grammys.
That's right. I've been watching a little bit before I got on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's sort of
fun.
It's been fun. I think they truncated the actual broadcast of it to like be just the now that's what I call music version of the Grammys.
Great. That's amazing because it's been well paced. Everyone's giving quick speeches, and the performances have been lit. Kudos to the Grammys stage managers and the people who are responsible for like actually producing the show because the amount of different zones they had to mic and mix live because did you see the new best new artist kind of like performance medley?
No, I have not.
So I haven't
seen it all as one. I've seen the clips, but yeah.
So all the performers for Best New Artist kind of like tag teamed into each other's performances. And it was really cool. I loved it. But it was like using 5 different areas of the Kia Forum. And just as someone who's like produced small comedy or like musical reviews, I'm like, oh my God, like how did they fucking like how many inputs is that? And like, Jesus Christ, like the amount of technical work that goes into that. It's not like the Oscar. It's way more than the Oscars or like Emmys or Golden Globes because the actors don't come up and like do scenes in different areas. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
It's so like it's very like straightforward. Those shows like the Grammys. There's so much happening
because we're letting the people do the thing that they do.
Sing.
You know what I mean? Like it's like the American Music Awards. Same thing. It's like do the thing. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. It's like that's the reason why Tony's like performances of the Tonys can go like be particularly moving and like make like I for sure have like gotten like introduced to certain musicals, like newer musicals in particular, where just based on the performance. Because I'm getting a taste. Because usually you don't get to do that. But with this, and also these are people at the peak of what they do. Live concerts have gotten so intense and so like, I mean, you're talking about innovation and like going, and it's about live experience. So let's go. Let's fucking go and do it tonight. Like I love seeing
and
it.
It was amazing. Chappell Roan so far has won Best New Artist, which I knew that she was going to get.
Absolutely.
Sabrina Carpenter got Best Pop Vocal Performance, which that's like the kind of like ancillary prize that they give to people that are not going to win the Best New Artist prize.
Sure.
So I knew that Chappell was going to win that. Doechii got Best Rap Album, so I knew she wasn't going to win that. So it just comes down to Record of the Year and Album of the Year. The Record of the Year, I do feel like, I don't know, it's up in the air. I think it could go to either Chappell or it could go to Sabrina Carpenter. Oh. Sabrina had a crazy year.
She really did.
She really
did.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who's been a fan since like, I don't know, it was like it's been a part of my Spotify like mixed in stuff since that album where she's like on on like the outside. It's like all black, and it's but yes, I like since like 2021, middle pandemic. Like she's
doing amazing this year. She's finally getting her flowers. Beyonce. But
I was embarrassed. I used to be embarrassed about liking her so much
Why?
Because there is something to be said. Like people are talking.
She's a good songwriter.
She's an incredible songwriter, and like the vocals, like all of it, it's deceptively easy. She's doing the thing where, it's like it's harder to make something seem easy when it's actually very hard. Whereas like the vocal acrobatics of like Ariana and Mariah, like it's supposed to look hard. It's supposed to be impressive. But something about Sabrina that's so sing-songy and you can sing along with it. It feels so bubblegummy. But why I felt embarrassed about it is I think kind of what people are talking about the Grammys now being so dominated by women, and music in general being so dominated by women. And let's give Taylor her flowers with regard to that. Absolutely. Because money comes first. People aren't going to pay attention unless, but like, I think something about that, like that it was so female and that it was so poppy, made me as like a older millennial feel like this can't actually be good though, right? Like I like it a lot. It really appeals to me, but it can't actually be categorically good, right? Like critically, and
interesting.
And it's the same thing that sort of.
I bet that's kind of what people felt about Dua Lipa, and they were correct.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel about Dua Lipa. It's like categorically good. Like it's perfect sounding. It's pop at its highest caliber. But
done by a specimen that like is almost otherworldly.
Yes, and incredible vocals, and the dancing needs a little work, but whatever, right? The production. She's gotten better. She's gotten better. She's wiggling. But Dua Lipa compared to, sorry to compare, but like let's compare. It's the Grammys.
Yeah. Compared
to Sabrina Carpenter, for me, just doesn't have enough voice, like point of view.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's almost like a comic that doesn't have punchlines versus a comic that only has like premises.
Okay. Yeah.
Like Sabrina has punchlines.
Because she's cheeky. She actually is funny. And
she's funny. She's funny. Clever.
Absolutely.
I feel like Dua is hot and talented.
Yes. I would say that she does have punchlines. It's just not like it's a kind of punchline that would also make its rounds on Twitter eventually.
Right. It's just not like it doesn't feel fused to her brand. Like I don't know what the brand is. Like Sabrina, I get it. I understand.
For sure.
And
Dua is also killing in the room. Like that if you were making this analogy complete. She's killing in the room. Everyone thinks, and she's getting booked regularly. Like absolutely. Like there's no doubt.
Like just vibes.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? You know those
Yeah,
comics that are just vibes but still kill?
And also are funny.
Yeah.
Like they're absolutely
funny.
good and funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talent is there.
So that's kind of like how I see why Sabrina I don't think is like embarrassing to like.
Yes.
Whereas I can see where like if your number one top girly is Dua Lipa, it's kind of like what's happening. Like there's so many pop girlies out here.
Yeah.
Like that are like just doing it at a high caliber. She can't be your favorite girly. Like she can't be your fave.
I mean, to me, of those girls, she is the top. Like if
Who?
we're talking
Dua
of like BB Rexa, like that echelon of like
that era.
That that like sort of category of pop girly, like the Tate McRae's, like
Jessie Murph, Jess Murph.
Yes,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna put BB Rexa in there as well. Like it's just like
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's well produced. They're doing the thing. They're dancing. It's electronic pop music. Like go off. But to me, like of that genre, that category of girly, Dua Lipa is top.
High caliber.
High caliber. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a bop.
Also great to see Beyonce win the Best Country Album. She was visibly shocked. At first I was like, is she acting? And then I realized
she's bad at acting.
That she can't act.
Yeah, she's horrible at it.
Yeah, and she was up there going like, "Oh my God, y'all!" Like she really was going like full bumpkin, like she didn't know what to say up there, which was crazy. Jay-Z whispered something in her ear, which I wish I had like lip reader. I wish I had a like AI lip reader.
I mean, like
you know
whoever, because there's that deaf lady that does do the. I love.
TikTok.
To me, that is one of the best parts of TikTok, bringing the deaf and hearing communities together in this way, in our love of gossip. And you know what I mean? Like, what a beautiful thing that America does sometimes. Like, truly, like, what the fuck? Like, I love that.
Yeah.
But
I love us. But yeah, I wish I had that because he whispered something into Beyonce's ear. And my gut tells me what he told her was, you deserve it. You're not getting album. Because they gave her country.
Right.
I bet that's what he told her.
I was going to say.
To like
yeah.
temper. What were you going to say?
I would have guessed that what he said was like, mention that I'm innocent.
Do not bring up Diddy.
If you have time, mention that I didn't do it. No
He's
pressure.
holding cue cards up there. Yeah, like
no pressure.
My husband is innocent. Yeah.
If not, no worries. You know what I mean? No worries if not. Like,
yeah. You do you though.
Like,
it's your moment.
I mean, like, it is like this and seeing, just in terms of like speaking of TikTok conspiracy stuff, seeing Kanye arrive. Why was he there?
With Bianca?
Yes.
With Bianca?
His wife, yes. His betrothed.
Did you see the reveal?
Did I see the reveal?
Okay.
There were no
she's like
secrets.
known for this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. She's like known for like titties out, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like complete basically nude. Like she just had like a sheer thing over her. I don't even know why. Like you just should have came naked. And then Kanye just standing there like stoic, and her face to me, like, it's giving trafficked.
Yes.
It's giving sexual slavery.
It's giving cult leader.
Yeah.
And his most obedient follower.
Yeah.
It's giving It's giving like her family has reached out and is concerned, and she's blocked them. You know, it's all of it is so unnerving, but also
really chilled me to the core when I saw her
and to do
take
it
off that thing and turn around, and I was like, because she didn't like laugh or smile or like step into her power. Like she didn't feel her pussy. Like she looked controlled.
I mean,
like, you know, he controls every single part of her image, her looks, her everything she does.
I mean, let's just, if if we just for a moment take in what Kanye, in his mind, is trying to achieve with his significant others typically, and what he has done. He did it with Amber Rose. He did it with
Kim K.
And and he kind of achieved it to a level with Kim K that he thought was enough, that everyone was sort of like, because I mean, honest to God, like think about other red carpets where that've been arrived together. She had a very similar disposition.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was just sort of the stoic, like
I'm here because I don't know anything, and he's a genius, and I'm just gonna do everything he
and
says.
I am a representation of his vision.
Of him.
Yes.
Exactly.
And like
I am his muse.
I'm his muse, and I am his art. Right? Like this is a reflection of his taste and what he has chosen to do with me, the clay. Right?
Yes.
And so if you think about it that way, what Bianca is doing is maybe actually the highest version of what he's been trying to achieve this entire time. She's the Dua Lipa.
She's the Dua Lipa of Kanye concubines.
You know what I mean?
She's the Raichu.
You know what I mean? Like
the final evolution.
That final evolution. Like, because she's sort of like, because even like the entirely like stoic, like the fact that she's doing, like Kim did it, right? Mm-hmm. Now this is like to the nth degree. Right. And even his sort of persona has really remained relatively the same outside of his like occasional like outbursts and stuff. The reason why I think.
Speaking of outbursts, sorry to interrupt, but have you seen his tweets?
Tonight?
Yes.
No.
He's going on a rant about, it's like,
wait,
I wanted to fuck Kamala, but I don't fuck losers.
Wait,
yeah.
Whilst at the Grammys.
Democratic at the Grammys. Look this up. I know. Crazy. He's going nuts.
Whilst at the Grammys, he's going off about.
Yeah, or he might have gone off right before he arrived at the Grammys. Yeah. And then he was like, oh, Dems told me to take the tweet down. LOL, not going to do it. Trump forever. Dems don't represent black people anymore. You know, just going on his.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean.
And then he finally apologized and said, sorry to Kamala and her children.
JK, so sorry. Like, so that's truly,
where Kanye is.
Yeah, where is he? I mean, like, truly, where is he?
I am worried about you, Bianca. I really am. This feels Diddy-ish. I'm not saying he's Diddy. I'm saying it's Diddy-ish.
Diddy-ish. Diddy-esque.
Diddy-esque.
I mean, this is the
Didion.
thing. Diddy. He's Joan Didion.
He's Joan.
And she's and Bianca's Didion. And so like I think that there is something about with like why to me Kim didn't like fulfill all of this for him was because they did start a family. And the fact that there's like this public version of him that is like father and like more three-dimensional, that's what like that's not what he wants. He wants this flat version, him to be this artist and this to be like, you know, the fact that performance art. Yeah. The fact that they wound up being a family and that there's like all this messiness, like that's what actually
got too real.
It got too real. Yeah. And so whereas with Bianca, there's none of that, none of this illusion. But her face is I think this is the reason why I think it's also particularly upsetting is that in this place at the Grammys that is so dominated by strong women right now, this is a moment and a year at the Grammys celebrating female artistry and creativity, and we're watching this. We had to see this.
I know. Ugh. It was a real low point.
It was so strange. I mean, like all of it.
I did not like it.
I did not like it. I mean, all of it.
You know what it made me think of? Like all these like young like boys out there who probably are gonna like now look at this photo and jerk off to it.
No.
You know, yeah. Think about like 13, like a 12-year-old boy who like happened to like Grammys were last night. Whoa, what happened with Kanye's wife? You know, and it's just like I know it's nothing new because we had it when we were kids.
For sure.
Things like this would happen and it would become like someone would become hypersexualized in, some kind of Hollywood event. That's like the name of the game.
J-Lo,
but
Versace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. J-Lo looked crazy today, by the way. What if you guys? I wish there was like someone who could like bring up her dress right now. Like, she was wearing this like insane, like it was like almost like a black velvety turtleneck with a long sleeve, and then this like completely like out of place like poofy skirt. It just looked bad. I don't know. She's usually really impeccable, but I did not like what she looked.
Oh, I see. I'm seeing
when
what
she,
she's doing. Yes. This overly gloved moment. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like this weird poofs that like asymmetry. Like, I don't know. It just did not look great.
And the look,
but
the
yeah.
glam is also kind of giving like Beyonce adjacent from a couple years ago. You know what I mean?
She
like
looks really tan.
Yes. And like even the gloves,
really
it's also Beyonce tour.
Did you see? Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. Did you see Taylor Swift come out and present a country album?
No, but I did. I watched in my group chat. Our friend Diamond was like, "What's happening with these bangs? They do seem Amazon."
I don't know what it is about her. She's like a billionaire superstar, #1 pop star in the motherfucking globe, but she still doesn't look comfortable like standing up there.
No.
Like she walked out there like bow-legged. And I was like, what the fuck, Taylor Swift? You're a fucking billionaire. Like,
step into your
get
power.
it together.
Step into
like,
your power.
get some heels that work for you, bitch. Like, why? They could fucking mold heels to your goddamn foot. You know what I mean? Like, why are you walking like a deer that was just pushed out of a deer pussy? Like, come on. You got full, like, limbs.
Full lips. I mean, okay, so wait.
What is wrong with you?
I will say there is a Netflix movie called Tall Girl. I believe there's a Tall Girl too. Do you know about this movie? I
know Tall Girl, yeah.
This is what has helped me learn to empathize with tall women, because I didn't realize they had it so tough. I guess they were kind of insecure about it.
Is she tall?
She's very tall. Taylor's 5.
Taylor Swift?
Yes.
She's like 5, what?
11,
9,
almost 6.
Okay, that's pretty tall for a woman.
Yes.
But like it's not like 6'4". She's not like Brittany Howard, or like she's not like a WNBA star where she has to like lumber around.
Sure. I mean, arguably their knees are strong.
I don't get it. She's so awkward to me.
I mean, this is why I think so many white women like flock and they see
Maybe
it.
That's the appeal.
Yes.
Is that like you're like one of us. You're like not actually that talented or that pretty or that talent or that like, you know, like
and like this is what privilege can do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's the like absolutely like,
it's the American dream.
It's aspirational.
It's the white American dream.
Aspirational, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like
that's Taylor Swift.
For sure. And like there's because I absolutely agree. I'm just like, what? To me, I'm like, is this a show? Like, what's happening? Why?
The fact that she and Beyonce have to go like nose to nose or toe to toe with their like whatever, like pop starness, first of all, is it's a goddamn shame, first of all. And secondly, it just reminds me why Trump is president.
This is what I'm saying.
There's so much of this nation and its people that we just do not get. And I'm talking like me and you.
Yeah, you're never going to reach
specifically.
Me. I mean, people are proselytizing.
We don't get it.
I don't get it. I mean, people are proselytizing Taylor Swift to me constantly. Culture is proselytizing.
Constantly.
You know what I mean?
You know who's also getting proselytized to me? Fucking Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll.
Why is this motherfucker so popular?
Jelly Roll. Yes, the Jelly Roll.
What's going on? He's just fat Post Malone with a.
I mean, the only time I've ever encountered him culturally,
he's got a growly voice.
The only time I've ever encountered him culturally, like, because I know who he is, and I'm aware of him and his wife, all this stuff. I'm aware of the lore and the cultural significance. I've never interacted with him in my culture, in what my feed, in my algorithm, in how, you know what I mean?
Right.
The only time I've ever experienced
That's how I feel about Taylor Swift. It's
Yes.
like, okay, I understand, respect, but good for you, not for me.
Not for me. But I mean, the only time I've ever encountered Jelly Roll was when he testified in front of Congress for about opioids, and that was significant, right? Like this is like that felt like, okay, I see this. This is white culture. Opioids are white culture.
Yeah, opioids definitely white culture. Yeah. It's Appalachia.
Yes.
Have you heard? There was a Jelly Roll just came into like the zeitgeist again for me because a bunch of comics apparently went to do a roast of Jelly Roll.
Where? At his house?
In Tennessee. No, I think at the not Laugh Factory. At the Zanies in Nashville.
Okay.
Because it was like a night, we're all gonna roast him, and a bunch of like famous comedians like Whitney, Cummings,
was it filmed?
Norman, et cetera, et cetera. No.
Okay.
It was just like for him for his birthday, and yeah, that's what he wanted, I guess. So they're all roasting him, and apparently it didn't go well because a lot of them don't like. You need to like know someone to roast them.
Yes.
You really need to like know and the room needs to also know these pertinent facts.
Yes.
Because if you go into some shit that like the room does not understand or know of Jelly Roll, your punchline's not going to hit because like you're setting up for something completely like out of this room, you know? So like it has to be like something about that person that we all know.
Right.
And so apparently it went bad. I was watching clips of We Might Be Drunk, and they were talking about that. And I was like, who is this Jelly Roll? So I looked it up, I YouTubed him, and I'm like, okay, so he's like a country singer, like a growly country singer with a bunch of tattoos, but he's like a softie.
He
like
cares.
Emo.
He cares. He
cares.
And he respects women. Kind of crazy.
Amazing. I love that. Finally, you're catching up.
But I mean, like, what's crazy to me is that, like, he thought people think that roasts and comedy, okay?
Yeah.
This is not a vending machine.
It's not for everyone.
It's not. This is not Brandy Melville. It's not one size fits all. Okay, it's just simply not possible. Like the whole nature of, like, have you ever tried to tell? This is what I think sometimes needs to, like, people need to explain something to somebody. You know what I mean? Like someone, you do have to. You can say no, and it's like, have you ever tried to explain to somebody an inside joke that you have with your friend? And then you in the middle of it realize how stupid and how not funny it is, and how it actually makes you and your friend seem stupid and mean, or right? And like that's how even the term inside joke. That's why you don't explain shit like that anymore. That's what a roast is supposed. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I think it's one of those things where like a roast has become so like pop culture that
Yes.
like, everyone just wants it. You know, it's almost like it's my birthday karaoke night. Like karaoke has become like pastiche, and I think roast has now become that.
But even the roasts, like with Comedy Central back in the day, one, they could be funny, absolutely, but they were usually dealing with a person or a celebrity that was so famous that everyone in the room, by which I mean everyone in the culture, knew.
Yeah, that's the point. But you know what's changed that, I think, is Kill Tony. And
yes.
The popularity of Kill Tony is because they're just dogging on these people who, I don't know how they find the people that come up there. It's like the weirdest people in society. But you can only
do it for a minute.
A minute.
You can because you're literally roasting.
You're out of stuff to talk about
because you're only roasting on what they look like, or like
what they said, or how did they do, or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the dozens. Like that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Right.
And so like that's fine, but there's an artistry even to the dozens because it's usually people you're hanging out with that are your friends.
Yeah, leave it to the fucking pros, guys.
Yes,
on,
and whoever wanted, like, you could just been like, No, I don't think that's a great idea. It's like it's a lot of time, a lot of money for like people that aren't. You know what I mean? Like you should
I
just.
bet it was great money. I bet Mark Norman made like 10K.
That's what I mean. Like, why not just if Jelly, if you want this, why not ask your friends to do this?
What if his friends aren't funny?
But the thing is, they would know enough about him to make fun of you.
Right. Yeah. I don't
You know, like
maybe Jelly Roll thought he was like bigger than what he was. You know what I mean? Like maybe he thought he was like Alec Baldwin, where like there's enough to make fun of. I don't know. He's fat and he's sober.
people. I mean, like it's okay. Yeah, I know what I mean. You know,
anyway,
like,
the whole point is that he's someone that's being shoved into our faces, much like Taylor Swift, where like I think it's a good for you, not for me thing. Another one of these, Benson Boone.
what's Benson Boone?
He's what do you mean? What's Benson Boone? He's one of the. This is how out of touch you are.
I know. I'm seriously.
Sometimes I'm like, wait, you're actually older than me.
No, I mean
because.
Well, I mean, okay. Let me just say this: as anyone that's
Beautiful
listening,
things that I've got. Whoa.
oh yes, I see this person. I know who this person is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, he's jumping around.
Yeah.
He's another one that they are really shoving down my throat, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know.
I don't know.
About this.
I mean,
It's
like,
okay.
the thing
It's
is, like,
okay.
I mean, listen, I felt this way. Okay, first of all, let me defend myself. As a parent, yeah, there's going to be cultural moments I'm not aware of. I watched Lilo and Stitch today. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't, I get it.
Yeah, you're not caught up.
I'm not caught up. I'm still watching, The Shield, season 4. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break.
Sure.
But I will say this about Benson and sort of like industry pushing some stuff. Like, I will say there's a part of me that's really grateful for sometimes like this sort of thing. Like, because we have gone through such a era where like social media and these things were like democratized, and we just got such an influx of people that just had no pizzazz, no whatever. Like, okay, let's just see what this guy has to say. I felt like the same way with Timothée. Like, pushed.
Yeah, I'm coming around to Timothée now.
This is what I mean.
I've seen him in enough things where I'm like, okay, he's got it.
He's got it.
Something. He's got it.
He's got it.
He's also very charming in the press junkets.
This is what I mean. And he wasn't initially, right? He wasn't like super.
I don't like that he's with Kylie. I don't like that. That doesn't sit well with me.
It doesn't sit well with my spirit either. Like, but also there is something about the whole thing where I'm like, I clock it, where it's like, he is hungry.
Shrewd?
No, yes. Hungry, shrewd, and like just I did like a deep dive on him very recently in terms of like his where he grew up in New York and like all of that like sort of background of like he's very from like that sort of like middle class creative class that like only New York has.
What do his parents do?
One of them I think is a like a writer for somebody, like some sort of specific thing. His mom is like something else, like kind of artsy. They're from like artistic families and French and stuff, but like no, not moneyed, right? But there is something about something very New York about having the cultural cachet, right? Being of this creative class, but entirely middle class, like money wise. And he lived in the same building as Coleman. What the fuck?
Domingo.
Yes.
Oh.
It's like whatever subsidized art housing. Again, something that only exists in fucking New York, and like seeing that, understanding that, and like the fact that this bitch did this and like has chessed his way, like. In high school, went to the Fame High School, dated Madonna's daughter. You know what I mean? Like, hungry.
Yeah.
Like, that sort of shit I can respect.
Yeah, I like him.
Right?
I've completely come around to him.
This
At first,
I
was like, I don't know.
Same.
But the Kylie thing does worry me. Anyone who has their nether regions tied to that family, I just don't trust it.
It's Didion. It's Didion.
It's Joan. Honey, it's Joan.
It's Joan. I mean, like, absolutely. But there's something about it where, because of the Timothy experience and because of the social media, I'm like, okay, industry, like, I trust you. Okay, you see something, and I'm gonna hope that as an A&R rep, whoever is like has seen enough, and it's like clocks something in them, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it doesn't pan out. We just mentioned
some of them are easier than the others. You know, like some of them just really don't pan out, like Julia Stiles.
Yes, BB Rexa, again, to bring her back again. BB was
you love
pushed.
a BB Rexa.
BB was pushed. If you were like a certain era of like being into electronic pop, like BB Rexa, Little Mix, like it was like pushed. If you're like into UK pop at all, like hard, and it just never took.
You know who I like? That lady from Little Mix that's come out solo now. What's her name?
The lead one. The main girl.
One. The other one who's kind of like who got like called out for being heavy. Quote. They were like, "Ew, you're too fat to be in Little Mix" or whatever, and now she's doing like gay disco pop.
You're talking about Jessie?
It's really
no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Jessie.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
she's not the main one.
Isn't she? To me, she's the main because she's the one with the personality.
She is the one with the personality. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
no, I'm talking about Jade. Jade Thirlwall.
Oh. I have not heard anything of her like solo stuff. I have not. I believe it.
You should check it out. It's good.
Okay. I mean, like, absolutely.
Really
I love Little Mix, but like, it's just like stuff. There's sometimes like with industry, just like let's, like let the gatekeepers tell us who's allowed in. I'm gonna trust.
You don't need to tell them to do it, honey. They'll do it. They're keeping them gay. So they don't need your permission, honey. Trust.
But I'm just happy that they're back. I'm just like truly because there was just a moment where everyone was just like, well, social media. Like there was this moment, especially during pandemic, it was just like, okay, like they seem to be popular with these people. And then that was what the industry was like allowing the taste and the sort of the people choose and push who they were backing versus people that had an agenda and like inside of the industry, people pushing and seeing something and cultivating real talent, right? Like, because that
have you seen Complete Unknown?
No.
I would recommend. He does a great job. As a film, I'm not sure if it's like that captivating, but it's really just more of a string of his performances as Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Are you watching any of the Oscar films? Are you like
I'm
interested?
Gonna see. I am. I'm gonna try to get as much of the. Yeah, I'll start. I usually at least try to.
You don't have to.
No, I usually.
You don't have to. It sounds like you're not actually into it, but it feels like homework.
No, I usually try to get through like half. Like I do want to watch like the stuff that I want to watch for sure. But this one specifically, I'm just like, this is to me evidence of like boomer culture, like shit that's just continues to have this death like Vulcan death grip on our culture. It's just like, I think Bob Dylan has had, I don't know how many movies, some fictionalized, some documentaries about his life. And this dude is fucking alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I
know his daughter.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, one of his daughters.
Wait, which one? The one that he recently?
Desi Dylan.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
She's like 30 something.
Yeah.
She's a great, amazing singer.
Yeah.
She did CBS Showcase.
Wait, so this is the daughter he had with his backup singer.
Yeah.
Yes. Recently he came out and acknowledged. He was like in her life.
Oh yeah, he was going around not acknowledging her the entire time.
But I mean, he was in her life and he was like acknowledged personally, but not publicly.
Not publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like again, like I like Bob Dylan. Like I was that was like to me for sure. But I don't need like because what's crazy about like from what I was seeing on the trailers and like the reviews of this movie, I'm like there's like actual documentary footage of a lot of these moments.
Mm,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh,
This feels like a Timothy Chalamet pet project, if I could be honest. I think he's a big fan,
okay.
and it seems like I could imagine someone being like, I'm a huge fan of Timothy, and it turns out he's a big fan of Bob Dylan. Let's make this movie together. And it was a biopic in that, like, they loosely, like, strung together a bunch of different, like, concerts or, like, whatever. Like,
It's like him and like Joan Baez,
music
sort of like,
journey.
yeah, for sure.
That was the most interesting part.
I mean, and it's the most interesting part of like the lore, absolutely. And it's a very,
Yeah.
it's not often, like, because of his own like sort of reticence around his like romantic life. He's like so weird about it.
Yeah.
Like, to me, something really interesting would be like, what about when he got into a motorcycle accident and then came out a Christian? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
you know, like, okay.
They definitely did not go there.
That's what I mean. Like, I was like,
Well, I think they ended in like 1970.
Yeah, this is pre.
Like that.
But like,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you know, everything else is talking about his artistry and stuff. I mean, he's like a bizarre human being, and
I think that's why there's a mystique that has endured
Yes.
about him, and that's why people keep making these movies.
but no one explores
And,
that
you know-
very specifically. It's always like a kind of like this pandering, like I'm a genius sort of thing, and it's like, but he's also
Yeah.
a fucking weirdo. Like, let's talk about that.
Well, this movie really made him look like an asshole.
Really,
He was just like a straight up, kind of just like a piece of shit.
this is sort of like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
actually,
and in that way, Timothy played him well, I think, because he played him not like two-dimensional. You know, like it was very like layered in his assholeness. It was just this like
he wasn't being precious
Yeah.
about like making sure he,
yeah.
That's, I mean, because he was like,
authentic about it.
I mean, he was like
Um,
brutally ambitious. Like, he wanted to
Yeah.
be famous. And I mean, it was very clear. Like, he talks about it. Like, it's not the persona that he adopts. So like all this stuff about even like even the preciousness around like taste and genius, even speaking of Grammys right now, like how I think, I don't know, like 2000s, the idea that like good music had to have guitars, right? Like, it all, I feel like it's like this era. It's very boomer. And like, that's why even my own sort of strangeness around like liking Sabrina Carpenter is like, is this good? Right? Like, it's pop though. You know, it's the same thing with why Beyonce has to continue to even, I mean, it is embarrassing that like Beyonce and Taylor Swift are like having
Considered the same
level. Like, it's
league. It's different artistry. Yeah,
one-
we're talking like algebra versus like
arithmetic.
quantum physics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even go up to higher kind of math. I was like, oh yeah, the hardest one. And then
It's like, yeah, Beyonce's dealing with like a theory of if something exists and doesn't exist at the same time. And Taylor Swift is like, 9 times 9 is 89. What is it? 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 10 is 90. 99. Like, she's doing times table.
And then sometimes if you divide it by itself, it's 1. You know, like it's
It's like such different leagues that only something as capitalistic as award shows would flatten artistry like this into like a complete like flat line of like, now line up 5 women in a row and who's gonna get the award. You know, it's like, what?
I mean, and this is the part that's really baffling is like the Grammys, you know, what have you, but like even culturally and critically, the fact that the conversation and the nuance is being flattened in this way, like what are we talking about here? One person is talking, you know what I mean? Like, even like the nature of the songs and the content of it, like, and notwithstanding the sort of layers of like the musicality and the production, like notwithstanding all of that, okay, what they're just talking about in the songs themselves,
Yeah.
like it's a diary entry and it's a PhD thesis.
Yeah. It's like haunting harmonies in American Requiem versus her like little like Well, they're kind of my dreams. Na, 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 eating ice cream. Like she's.
And then he didn't even text me back. You know what I mean? Like one is conjuring
she's like
up,
talking about a sunny day that like all of a sudden had a little bit of rain.
You know, and it's like, it's feelings. It's like, and absolutely, like feelings are all feelings are valid. All lives matter. You know what I mean? Like I get it, but like what I'm saying is that one.
You're lucky we never get monetized.
I'm just saying, like, the implied thing in the Taylor Swift is that, right? Like, all feelings, like, this stuff. Versus, I think very specifically with Beyonce stuff, like, there are parts of Lemonade that are, like, conjuring up the middle passage, right? Like, about, like, the experience.
Yeah, I mean, no one's doing, like, Harvard thesis about Fortnite. Or like Lavender Haze or whatever, like, so yeah, we're talking about two different things, like same thing with Kendrick and Drake. Like Drake's doing, club booty music. Mm-hmm. Kendrick's writing, about the black man going through therapy and understanding like your own self-worth and, and breaking down your own toxicity. Like, what are we talking about? It's like apples and oranges is apple, and then Grammys is like, let's all get together and see like what's the best pop vocal album of the year.
I mean, but
so I get it, but you have to like the idea of award show, stupid as it is, it should just be like a celebration. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like get everyone together and like everyone perform and let's all celebrate great music for the year. And then leave, but that doesn't make people want to tune in or make corporations want to sponsor.
Absolutely, because there's a part of it that's implied is that like this institution in an award show is an arbiter of taste. What is worth your time and dollars, right? Mm-hmm. And so the fact that there are specific artists included in the conversation and who wins, like there's a part of it where. Like culturally, the implication is that this is what matters. This is what we've deemed to be most important. Not even if that it's the best, but this is the thing that is the most relevant. And the reason why the Oscars, the Grammys, is that like they've gotten further and further from that because their choices are off. Mm-hmm. What they've decided is relevant, does not reflect, and it's like that's why people in the
because the voting class never changed the demographic until just recently, until like Black Lives Matter. Like I mean, that, you know what I mean? That it wasn't then until people were like, "Oscar's so white," and then people were like, "Shocking!" But yeah, as that class gets older and old, they were the tastemakers. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing that's happening in Hollywood, happening everywhere. Like. The people in charge just won't retire. So they are writing out their irrelevancy and dragging us through the mud with them. I
mean, I can't
retire.
Like we can't
just go away.
Like truly, like it's not the same group chat. And I didn't realize this, but I guess the Beatles were nominated for another Grammy this year. And it's like,
what?
Listen, okay, one, I like the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like the same way that I like every single title that is listed on the Penguins Classics inside the book jacket. Like if you are organization, you tell me this is what's good, I will work through it diligently. Mm-hmm. Like, thank you. Tell me what's good. But this is insane. If they have not released a new music in 50 years, let's give it a fucking break.
So what is up for contention?
It was like they re-released some version of like the thing, right? It was like when Apple and it's just like
their nephews got together and like
remastered like some shit they didn't release before. I mean, like who knows? But it's just like it's fucking like let's like in Korea they make people because like people are in a line, right? Obviously to get jobs. People that are in their like early 60s will just retire because it's rude to not make room for the next generation. Because there are people go away. There are people in their 30s
that have enough money.
And
I'm talking about the gatekeepers, not the artists. I'm talking about like the execs, the studio heads, the label heads. The fact that Clive Davis is still throwing a pre-Grammy party after all this Diddy shit, like that, and seeing all the artists going and like lining up for that party, I'm
to
like,
kiss the ring, to continue to kiss this ring.
That's what I mean, and I'm like, why? What? How is this still a thing? How is Clive Davis still a thing? How?
I mean, like
this is nuts. They're like shitting in our face.
There's a part of it where it's like, you know, even like when it was already a little long, right? Like maybe 10 years ago, we're like, sure, right? These are people, and there's like all this like a certain level of respect and gratitude to these like dignitaries and you know,
Pioneers.
sage like and you know, they're pioneers, they have so much wisdom, all this shit, but they were not occupying that space even then, right? They were still seeing themselves as they were, you know, they're that old guy at the club wearing swishy, like wearing those like loose jeans and a tight limited
Young
express blue shirt, right? You know what I mean, like that guy. And they continue to do it. They're still here.
Let me tell you, that could not be me. I just want to get successful so that I can retire.
I want to leave.
I want to get the F out of here.
Who wants to be who wants to be the last person at the party? Nobody wants.
I don't even want to be at the party.
Let me go home.
It's just at my house, so I have to be here.
You're
like, let me leave.
I mean, like the thing about like people are like, oh, we have to people like the 40s are the new 30s and the 30s are the new 20s. It's because they won't leave.
They won't leave, and they won't die. We keep giving them vitamin D. They're getting amino acids.
They're getting the blood of the 20-year-olds staying in their home because they can't leave because they can't get jobs. They're injecting that blood back into themselves. I mean, that's the reason why there's this like prolonged. I mean, there has to be a certain level of acknowledgement within the boomer generation of what they've done, what they're doing. They are actually
continue to do.
They're actually retarding all of this, right? Like all of our progress is being inhibited because there's just make your own end of the table for sure, but there is also a table. We can continue.
You want to go hang out on the couch?
Leave the table.
Leave the table.
Go sit in front of the TV.
Eating.
Go sit in front of the TV. Sit on the futon.
Go take a nap.
You bought this sectional. You made this sectional. You deserve to sit on the sectional.
Sit on the sectional.
You know what I mean? Like loosen up your belt. Unbutton your pants. Sit down.
That's right. Stick your hand in there. Get it all warm. Al Bundy that ass.
You know, like let us cook in the kitchen. Let us put the food on the table. Let us eat.
Well, you know, at least the Grammys feels like it's got a younger female drive to it. I hope to see that replicated in the Oscars that are coming up, Emmys that are coming up. You know, award season kind of takes over LA here. Not that I'm ever invited to any of them, but it is what kind of like people start like not hinging their like lives on, but like kind of like they like people tend to ride these seasons, like award season, pilot season,
sure,
you know, whatever, and then you know episodic season going into like holiday season, and then summer. You know, like Hollywood really works like 3 months out of the year.
I mean, but it is also because you guys don't have real seasons.
We have no season.
Do you know what I mean? Like because you don't have nature, you don't have a natural season.
No,
to cotton
it's just
with.
Fire.
It's just fire. You just have natural episodes.
Fire, and then we have windy weeks of wind.
You know, it's that's agreeing this. I mean, you know, like, yeah, I could not, at least like for this, it's so strange that there's so much of this tied up into this like external validation, given how much you need to not regard that when you are pursuing this business, when you're in this business. You know what I mean? Like so much of it is like built on your own resolve and not like listening to the no's. And then once you're in it, then everything is hinging on this yes from you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or an organization, an award, like it's just like so.
I mean, it kind of. It's like we're talking about if we look at the Grammys and the number of musicians represented at the Grammys,
Mhm.
it's less than 0.00001% of working musicians out there.
Mhm.
Meaning, like, musicians that are out there doing orchestral sessions, recording sessions, band, going out on the road, like scoring films
And
or whatever.
successful
like,
musicians who are touring even, and
that's what I
releasing
mean.
music. Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, like, it's rarefied space for sure. And it is like the marketing faces of an industry is what, like, these people are. These are like the icons of our industry. But there's a whole industry behind it that exists. Like the fact that Khruangbin was nominated as a Best New Artist this year, 2025. They've been out for 15 years. You know what I mean? So like, and they've been touring and making a living, not just a living, like successful indie career.
Absolutely.
Out there. You know what I mean? So like, so there like, even like Hollywood, like there's acting, there's writing, there's all these industries outside of the award stuff. But unfortunately, I think the award stuff, we can't do without it. It's like not having the Olympics. Like, we need it.
Yes.
It brings everyone together. It brings like the country together. Like it's like a national thing. Mm-hmm. Like even the Grammys, to a smaller part, more the Oscars. It's like a moment, like Super Bowl. Like it's when like people stop and look at a tiny box together. You know what I mean? Like it's like a coming together that I think is important, albeit it's often diverted towards nefarious uses.
Are you calling the Oscars Didion? You're calling it Joan? Now, I love every single one of these award seasons. Like I love glamour, I love glitz. I also like the peak version of any sort of industry, like getting together and like seeing what it is, like, right, and then like seeing them interact with each other. That's why I love the Olympics as well, right? Like, look at these, look at these motherfuckers, like
I never watch NBA, but like during the finals, like I'm perking up.
Absolutely.
I'm going, oh, who's fighting who and how many games out of games? Like I'm like, like you get pulled into like a national kind of consciousness that doesn't really exist a lot.
I mean, because it's also like it's the top. It's like, who wants to watch a bunch of C students argue? You know what I mean? Like about anything or do anything. Like it's like, okay, sometimes they'll surprise you or whatever.
C students don't even want to be there.
But you know what I mean? It's like, it's not just the A students, it's the A students of the A students of like of each thing and then going up. So that's why it's absolutely the stakes of it and the quality of what you're watching is so exciting. Yes, absolutely there for it. I think like sort of my where I was going with, at least with it representing something, is that like, as someone who loves this stuff, I was like, I just love for it to be more of a reflection of what is happening in the industry currently, what the future of it might look like. Why don't we take a little look behind you, right? You know what I mean? Like, who's coming up? Who's making important stuff right now? I
see, yeah.
And like, as opposed to this constant like kissing the ring of,
right. That's kind of what's taken over.
Yes. So like that's the part where I'm like that I wish that there was more of this happening. And you're right. Like I do think that this tipping point is starting to occur. Thank God.
I know. I'm excited for it. Oh, Not Like Us took Record of the Year. Kendrick Lamar.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. Can you believe?
Wow. Wow.
Aubrey is mad now. So we're only down to Song of the Year and Album of the Year. So that's exciting. Well, cool. Thank you for listening, guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed our little pop culture roundup. And hopefully your faves won and your non-faves didn't. And remember, art is a competition. And it's all about who wins. Love you all.
Bye.